Okay, we're all set. So welcome again, everybody, to Job Searching. We're going to cover tips, tricks, and best practices today. My name is Tim Birmingham. I am a career education coach in the Career Education and Alumni Engagement Center, and I am going to share my screen. We're going to walk through the presentation, and like I said, at the end, we'll have some time for questions. Everybody see the presentation? Can I get a thumbs up? All right, awesome. So first and foremost, real quick, just some resources for us. I think you probably all know this, but Handshake is how you reach the Career Education Center and make an appointment. That's the link right there. There's a great job board in there, which I am going to mention. You can access employers on there. It's how you can sign up for internship, make an appointment with any of us, as I said. Our website is a great place for resources as well for your resume, cover letter, all your career education needs. We got a lot of examples and videos up there now, so I like to just plug that stuff in the beginning. And we're doing all of our appointments virtually right through the spring. We are going to be covering an in the office starting next week, so you can drop in, but virtual is how we're doing appointments. So job searching, that's what we're covering today. Okay, and we don't have a ton of time to do it, so I'm going to get you some basics. If you need any follow-up at the end, please make an appointment. But when job searching, it's important to understand the market that you are entering. And I think a lot of you are seniors that just came in. I know we have an alum here, but the college hiring was hit hard by COVID-19 pandemic. However, outlook for this year's class and this year's job market is much more positive, given what is happening and the ability for the job market to rebound since last year. Okay. And all this information is coming from NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers, most recent job market updates. The other things to think about is there's been a shift in the approach. Operations have improved adaptability of companies and employers. People are doing things virtually. People are working remotely. There are, if we're talking about internships, there are micro internships and project-based internships. People have adapted. Last year, the job market didn't know what to do. The pandemic hit right around the time the class of 2020 was graduating, but people have adapted. College Career Services have mobilized and we're doing things differently. We're conducting webinars and connecting to employers in a different way. So that is the good news. And in several employment sectors, and in here it says chemical, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, support services, information, wholesale trade, healthcare, I would say organizations are increasing hiring and increasing new graduates. So it's just something to consider and understanding the job market. I'm going to give you some resources too, some links that you can go in and just monitor the latest job market information, because it's really important. As we go through and you conduct a job search of some kind to understand what the industry is doing that you're entering. There's a number of different ways to do that. And here are some sort of top job search tips. And it says 2020. I pulled this this is an alteration from last year's presentation. Job search tips for 2021. They were for 2020 as well. First, don't just look online, okay? There is a tendency for people to hop on Indeed, to hop on those job boards and just see what's out there. It's extremely frustrating process. Why is it frustrating? Because most of those are driven by applicant tracking software, and computers. Latest information says about 75% of resumes that get submitted online don't make it to a human being. 10% result in interviews. So just by going on job boards and submitting your information is not enough. They're a good place to conduct research to find out who's hiring. Monitoring job boards over time can tell you what the market is doing in your industry. But just searching for a job that is the right fit and applying has a low success rate. Okay, your dream job is unlikely to be found on a job board. You have to go strategically hunt for it. We're going to talk about some strategies to do that. Second, you want to make your personal value very clear in your job search. You want to identify the key components of the positions that you're targeting and align your offerings as best as you can with that position. The value you bring is those offerings. You want to demonstrate yourself as the solution through well-crafted branding and value propositions, okay? That is 3 to 5 sentences, an elevator pitch. explaining the skills and the strengths and the value you bring to an employer. So in your job search, what I see a lot of the times are objective statements. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what this could bring me. Okay, it is all about the value you bring, how you make my life as a hiring manager easier, or the life of the company. What value do you bring? So be thinking about that. And you can make an appointment with a career coach if you want to have that conversation. We can help you kind of work those out. Number 3, people hire people, okay? Algorithms and applicant tracking software drive screening processes and some hiring. Some industries work differently, okay? Some industries you're getting straight to people and they hire early on, but people hire people. Networking is really important. You want to find people who can help you. Your networks consist of your personal network, the St. Michael's College alumni network, any other contacts that you may have. Connect with people, develop relationships, and find leads, ultimately leading to referrals. Okay, recent studies have shown that 80 to 85% of positions that are filled are through some level of networking. It's extremely important as part of your job search to connect with people. And we're going to talk about some ways to do that, but this isn't the networking webinar, so we're going to keep moving. But when it comes to networking, don't network the wrong way, okay? I see this a lot, okay? It's a little uncomfortable to network and to reach out to somebody you don't know. It's understandable, but reaching out for an ask right out of the gate, I see you went to St. Michael's College, you work for one of my target companies. I'm wondering if you know of a position that might be available. Here's my resume. That's an ask to somebody who doesn't know you. That's too soon. The other way to describe networking is relationship building. It's a two-way street. We're communicating. I'm asking you about you. You're asking me about me. We're developing a relationship. We're making a contact or a connection. Maybe it was we both went to St. Mike's. So build a relationship before you ask. Make a connection. I appreciate the post on LinkedIn. Let's connect. I see you went to St. Mike's. Then you comment on something, then you meet with them to do an informational interview. Then 3 months later, you reach out and say, really appreciate the informational interview. I'm graduating this spring. I see that your company is hiring, wondering if you know who the right person to talk to would be. That's how you develop and maintain that relationship to get to an ask eventually. So don't network the wrong way. Number 5, adjust your strategy, okay? And this is the 2 mistakes that I see in job searching a lot is looking online, applying, and continuing down that road. It's easy, right? It's easy to do that because we can just sit here in our offices or home offices or watching TV and just hit apply and pull up searches. We don't have to engage with anybody. If things are not working, it's time to try something new. It's time to reformat your resume, your cover letter, look at your LinkedIn profile, talk to somebody, network, ask questions, seek advice, do things differently. If it is not working, it is time to change. Very often in my own networking requests, if I have something structured and I'm looking to network with somebody and I'm not getting responses, I'm throwing that networking request away. People are not responding to the way that I developed that. It's time to change it. Maybe I'll ask a different way and see if that works. Okay, so those are some top tips that I suggest. Now, job boards are a part of the process, okay? There are lots of pieces to your job search. It should be really considered, and you'll see this in one of the next slides, a campaign. Lots of different aspects to your job search campaign. A job search board is one of them when you look at it in a way where you can keep the pulse on an industry, okay, or you can keep a pulse on the job market. You can monitor it over time. And find target companies off of a job board. I see this company, I'm really interested, they keep hiring, it's for a position I'm not qualified for, put them on your target company list, okay? So job boards are good for lots of things, not just seeing what's open and applying. Okay, top job boards that I do suggest, particularly for grads, upcoming grads is, well, in terms of Handshake is targeting students and new grads. It is the platform. You make an appointment with us, but it also has a really powerful job board. I can tell you we approve hundreds of employers on a regular basis. They're looking for new grads and interns and are looking to fill internships. So Handshake has a good job board. You can use keywords and filter through Handshake. LinkedIn is how you network. It's a professional networking platform. It is your career management platform these days. As I usually say, I used to be a little bit easier with LinkedIn, but I don't see it as optional if you are wanting to be in the top percentage of applicants. It's just not optional anymore. Indeed is another one. Indeed can be a little frustrating. I just got off the phone talking to somebody about Indeed, and they're getting information in positions that are not aligned with the keywords that they put in there. Indeed is driven by an algorithm as well. It's also driven by advertising, and how you put in keywords is really important. So use the filtering in Indeed. When you use various job boards, like I said, you can get the pulse on what positions are out there, positions you might not have considered, companies that are hiring, how much they're hiring, how little they're hiring. So monitoring them over time can give you a lot of job market information, and you can do that easily by logging in and turning on notifications. LinkedIn, Indeed, and Google, which I'm about to show you, all have notifications that will link to an email address. And if you're being really serious about your job search, create a Gmail that is strictly just for job searching. Filter all of these notifications to that one spot. You've got Gmail on your phone, and then you have a constant update for jobs and companies in your industry on your phone. And you don't have to sit down and go look. Locally, I like to just plug these in case people are looking for summer or they're looking to stay in Vermont. 7 days jobs. 7 Days VT is the free newspaper. They have a great local job board. Jobsinvt.com and vbsr.org is a great place to go look for internships. So just a plug for some local stuff. My favorite job board, because it searches everybody else's job board, is Google. If you literally go on and Google jobs, a little blue bar will come up in the search. Click the blue bar, and now you're in Google's job search world. Google doesn't have a job search board. What they're doing is pulling from everybody else's job search board. And if you use Boolean language, or what's called a Boolean search, you can, rather than just search, accounting positions in Boston, Massachusetts, or a marketing position in Burlington, you use a Boolean search to really fine tune the results. So what this does is, if you look at the example below, using quotations, parentheses, and the words and, not, and or, you can input your desired job title, industry, and city and state. And Google understands that and will give you those specific results, rather than searching the word marketing and searching the word assistant and searching the word Boston and searching the word marketing in Boston. Google will use all of those variations unless you use something like this, which will get you a much more targeted result. Play around with this. So as you can see below, the search that we use there is a marketing assistant or a marketing coordinator, and the industry, sports or entertainment, and Boston, Mass. That's going to give you a very targeted result. So play around with this. You don't have to include all these. You could do industry and location, job title and location. You could just include one for each, but play around with it. And then you can toggle over the Google alerts to your email for every search. And then it's just sending you information. And Google will search LinkedIn. Google searches ZipRecruiter. It searches most of the top job boards. So it's a really powerful search tool. So when you turn on all these notifications, you send them to one email and you monitor them over time, you're getting up-to-date job market information for your region. Say they're all for Boston and you're searching for marketing or accounting in that area. You're just going to get open positions, but what you're also going to get is companies that are hiring. So right now it's February. People are job searching for after graduation. If you have a list of target companies that you're interested in, they might not be hiring right now for May or June or July or the fall, but you know who those target companies are, and then you can monitor them in a different way. So that's how you can more effectively use job search boards, rather than just logging in and seeing if there's something that's a good fit for you and then applying and then dropping in your resume. Okay, so those are some suggested job search boards. Any questions or comments or thoughts so far? I mentioned job search as a campaign because this is really the effective way to look at your job search. a campaign involves multiple layers of an approach, right? So here are some of the layers to consider. As you enter a job search, you may know exactly what your target is. If you want to be an accountant in Boston or a marketing assistant in Boston, sorry, I'm just going to use the same examples, you might understand what your target is. If you're unsure, entering a job search, unsure of your target is really challenging, because what you're doing is you're giving the power to the job search boards to determine what might be a good fit for you. You're going out there, you're looking at various positions and deciding maybe this is going to work for me, maybe it's not. Clarifying your target comes from evaluating yourself, interests, skills, and values, then deciding how that fits occupationally, doing some research, and then entering into the market to see what's available that aligns with you. My next move, the type focus, are all things that we use for clarification purposes. So clarifying. Then once you've clarified what your interests, skills, and values are, then you conduct research. You want to know what the occupations are, the companies, the labor market. We've talked about that. Positions that are out there. How much are they paying? Are they trending? Are they experiencing growth? Are they on the decline? ONET Online and the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which is the second link there, are extremely useful tools to plug in marketing assistant or accountant and get that information. It tells you how to become one. It tells you what education you need. It tells you what trends are, local, state, and area information, places that those people work. Then you can take that information and develop your target company list. If they're telling you where accountants are generally working, then you can go to Boston, Mass, find those places. And again, you're developing your target company list. So getting this information is really important. And then once you have your list, you can narrow them down. And we talked about LinkedIn and Google to research companies. On LinkedIn, the power with that is go to your target companies, follow them on LinkedIn, turn on job search alerts on LinkedIn, which notifies recruiters you're interested. And then you can follow their content. You can see who works there, networking. Maybe there's an alum there. Maybe there's somebody you know through your personal network. So there's the power of LinkedIn. Google is a great tool to research, because if you know you want to work in marketing in the Boston area, you can search marketing agencies in Boston, develop a target company list, go conduct research on them, find them on LinkedIn, and start networking. So research and developing target lists is a really important job search campaign. Goals. We all get bogged down with stuff, whether it's schoolwork, families home during a pandemic. And I say that because mine is downstairs, because we're all home right now, because my son, there was a breakout at his school. So my point is that things are busy. You have a lot going on. Set goals for your search. SMART goals work best. A very specific goal, which is I'm gonna conduct informational interviews. How do you measure that over time? I'm gonna conduct 2 within the next week, which is achievable. It's relevant to what I'm doing, and I'm gonna say that it's done by this date and time. So that's a SMART goal. Develop some goals around your job search. Write them down. Write down the acronym and ask yourself if it falls in that category, okay? Because goals are just dreams unless we take action, right? So when they're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, we're more likely to take action on them and spread them out over time. A job search campaign can be exhausting. So when you put in the work and you develop your goals, you're more likely to follow through and take action. You need to create a marketing plan. This is the next step. That includes a resume, a cover letter, a LinkedIn profile, and establish that personal brand. That value needs to be consistent across all 3 of these. It needs to come out in your resume, in your cover letter, in your LinkedIn profile. What makes you different than the other applicants? What unique skills and strengths and experience do you have? You want to stand out and be different than all of the other applicants for the job that you're applying for. That comes from the unique promise of value that you bring, and everybody is a little bit different. And if you want to have a conversation around that or how to put one of those together, happy to help out. But create those marketing documents, because once you submit those or hand them off to somebody, that's ultimately how you're going to get in the door for an interview. Networking, network. It's extremely important. 80 to 85% is a monster number. If I were to look back at, my own time when I graduated from St. Michael's in 2002, this is absolutely what I would have been doing more of, communicating with people that that graduated before me, professors, maintaining those relationships, conducting informational interviews in the fields that I was interested in, talking to people. Referrals are extremely powerful, and people want to help, particularly if you can identify a connection. Hey, we went to St. Mike's together, we played the same sport, or maybe we majored in the same thing. There's a connection there. People want to help. And then when you go ask them about their career, people want to talk about their career because they're more often than not helping people by talking about their own career path. So it's a nice change of pace. So network, there's lots of different ways to do that. LinkedIn is your primary platform for that. You are going to find the bulk of St. Michael's College alumni on LinkedIn. We have an alumni page. If you search St. Michael's College, you can search alumni by title, keyword, company, what they studied, where they work, where they live. You can narrow it down, and then you can send them a message. SMC Connect, if you haven't heard of that, the link is right there. SMC Connect, I believe this was in the previous presentation, but that is, I usually call that the St. Michael's College version of LinkedIn. Warmer leads, because it's full of people who have already said they want to help. They said, oh, great, SMC Connect, that's awesome. I'm an alum. I'm going to put my information in there. Here's what I'm willing to help with. Happy to help out. So go in there. You can find people in there, and you can send a message, schedule a call. It literally says, here's what I'm willing to help with under each profile. So if you're looking for a warmer lead, SMC Connect can help you with that. LinkedIn's going to give you a larger number of people because it's a bigger platform. Don't forget about your personal networks. Be strategic about that. It is the time where, if you're a senior, you are heading to the point where you're going to get lots of questions. What are you doing after graduation? What have you decided to do with your degree? Whatever it may be, let your personal network know what you're up to. You can do that on LinkedIn. I've seen some students do it recently. Talk to people, let them know, answer those questions that you get over and over again. Hey, I'm looking for an accounting position in the Boston area. I'm looking to be a marketing assistant. People talk and people want to help. And I've seen personal networks and St. Michael's networks, alumni networks, come back around and help people more often than not. So don't shy away from your personal network. Family, friends, family of friends, let people know what you're up to. This is a part of your campaign, everybody, because if you reach out and you talk to somebody, they really like talking to you, and they say, hey, cool, I really enjoyed this conversation. Send me a resume. I know the hiring manager down the hall. They're posting a position by the end of the week. I'd like to get it to them so that, I can refer you before the hiring process opens up. Better have it ready, better be ready to interview, because resumes and your marketing documents don't get you the job, you get you the job. So prepare for your interview. This is part of your job search campaign. Conduct a mock interview. You can come do that with us. Do that with somebody outside of the career education office. If you don't have time, just make sure it's somebody who can provide you with objective feedback. And prepare good questions. One of the keys to going in and conducting a good interview, two of the biggest ones are: understand the core concepts that you want to relay to the interviewer, how you want to educate them about you. 3 to 5, those are the big ones. And then have good questions. Be memorable by asking them good questions about them or the company. So we're closing in here on the end, and I want to leave time for a few questions. I've covered a lot. With all of that, it's a campaign. So putting in the work is important. It is not easy to incorporate all of these things, particularly if you are in school and you have a full load of classes, and classes might be virtual or not virtual. We're in the middle of a pandemic. That is a factor. Putting in the work can really be helpful. Seek advice, get help from people, whether it's family or friends or the career education office. We can help out. But the more work you put into this, I promise you, the more your job search will be successful the more you will find reliable work, the more connections you will have in the end. Now, entering into a job search campaign is hard because one, it's a lot of work. Two, you're going to get some no's. You might not. Honestly, you might. I've worked with a couple of seniors one time, applied for one job, and wrote me back a week later and said, I got it. That was great. It's unusual, but it happens. And you know, some industries work differently than others. I know we have some accounting majors in here, and accounting recruits very early. They'll come in and have conversations with people early on. However, doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away. We need to understand and recognize that you may hear no. And if it's not right now, at some point in your career, you might not hear back. If you're applying on job boards, most of the time you're not going to hear back. You might hear, thank you, we're going a different direction, or you might interview and not hear back. There's a certain level of ghosting that is going on, both from interviewers and recruiters and people interviewing. It's important to roll through that and understand that more often than not, it's not you. It might be somebody who's more qualified than you that really stood out. And it's not that you weren't a good candidate, you were in consideration. It's hard to stay positive, but staying positive and understanding that that's not a full reflection of you. You got to work through those no's because it is a factor in the job search. You may have just been filtered out by a computer. A human might not have seen you. So dealing with no's is part of the process, which leads into managing stress, anxiety, and pressure during your job search, okay? Particularly heading towards graduation, pressure being, you get those questions a lot. What are you doing? What are you up to? And people mean that the right way. They want to know what you're doing. Or if you're in a job search transition, if you've left your job, if you've lost your job, these are all factors that exist. Being aware of them, understanding that they exist, and then making a plan to support yourself, which means walk away from your job search campaign if you need to. Okay, it's tempting to sit there every night, maybe after work or after school, and go through this stuff. But when it gets frustrating and you're just hitting submit, I'm done with this, I'm tired of looking at this, I'm just going to apply for the job, you've reached that point where you need to step away. Take a break from it so you can come in and be more energized next time. Please use us. Use the Career Education Center, use the alumni office. We are one. We are the Career Education and Alumni Engagement Center. They can help. Alumni can help with mock interviews, networking. There are other resources available to you, your professors, you know, your personal networks. Reach out to people, ask for support, ask people to review things for you. That can really be helpful in this process.